Have you ever felt so alive?
Hello YouTube and people of the interwebs, welcome back to another Doctor Who review. This week I'm going to be reviewing, breaking down and explaining, obviously there's spoilers throughout the video, so if you haven't watched, go and catch up, but I'll be explaining this bizarre little cameo as well. Anyway, we may as well just jump straight into the review. We'll start at the beginning. There was a pre-title sequence this week, and it was the most Doctor Who-y thing to ever exist. It was, let's establish the time period, let's walk around, and oh no, an alien! And that was a really nice, it sounds weird that it's sort of standard Doctor Who thing to do, but it felt like a breath of fresh air, because as much as I have loved Season 1 so far, we haven't had a standard classic Doctor Who episode since I'd say Space Babies. All of the other episodes this season have felt quite experimental, so it was nice to kind of go back to basics Doctor Who. Then, after the title sequence, we get thrown straight into the adventure, which once again seems to be a thing that's been done throughout all of this season. We don't find out where they're going or why they're going there, we just start in media res right away. The Doctor and Ruby having their little dance with their psychic earring things, that was fun. And obviously referencing the Bridgerton stuff, the Bridgerton style to the episode right away was quite funky. There's a lot of humour that I really appreciated in this episode as well. Rogue and the Doctor's chemistry was wild. From the first scene that the pair share, I could tell that Jonathan Groff's character of Rogue was immediately gonna become a fan favourite. Everyone, well, I don't actually know that he's become that, but I'm presuming he will be because he was just great, and fingers crossed he comes back in future as well. But their initial meeting scene on top of the balcony I thought was really, really fun, and I absolutely loved the little bit where they both thought that the other was the Cholder alien evil thing. They both assumed it was the other one, and obviously Rogue's a very Doctor-like character, so having the two of them play off against each other was in a way almost like a little bit of a multi-Doctor story, when Rogue grabs the Doctor's hand and says run, it's, two Doctors almost, but yeah, I appreciated the character, he was very fun. I also loved the line where the Doctor was like, don't call me Doc, which I don't know whether it is a callback to William Hartnell's first Doctor, but it gave me those vibes from, I can't remember what episode it is, but I know that the first Doctor says, and don't call me Doc at one point, and yeah, I love that, that was good fun. When they arrive at their spaceships, I did get very much sort of Captain Jack vibes of the Doctor's just got his shed and your cool American, suave bloke has his big spaceship that's actually see-through, well not see-through, what would you call it, invisible. He has an invisible spaceship and all of that jazz. Yeah, it was very reminiscent of Captain Jack. Obviously, I think this guy was supposed to be a time agent as well. The gun, the fit, the vibe, it was all giving Captain Jack. It's also interesting to note when they were in the spaceship, Rogue mentions his boss. Is this a tie-in with the Meep's boss from the 60th anniversary, where the Meep gives what word am I looking for? Ominous. That's what I was going for. The Meep gives an ominous warning to the Doctor about the boss. Or maybe it's just a completely loose connection. This episode wasn't actually written by Russell T Davies, but maybe he had some involvement in the script or asked the writers to pop that in somewhere. Then the little scene where you get all of the Doctors was so much fun. Just going to quickly jump in here. If you're enjoying the video, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and share. It really helps me out a lot. Also, if you want to hear me discuss the next time trailer, I'm going to do that a little bit at the end of this video and have an entire separate video for it on the channel. So yeah, go and check those out. Obviously, it's a bit fan servicey, but it was great fun. And this, we're canonising the Schalke Doctor. For those of you who don't know, this is the face of Richard E. Grant, who played the 9th Doctor before the revival in 2005. So in 2003, there was an animated continuation of Doctor Who, which was exclusive to I think it was just exclusively online or in like webisodes or something, or maybe BBC Three. And actually, it's where David Tennant got his first Doctor Who role. I think he just has a voice cameo. But Richard E. Grant played the Doctor there. And also, I saw on Twitter, I don't know how true this is, but apparently Russell T Davies didn't really like Richard E. Grant's performance in that, so it's quite funny that in Russell's second era, all these years later, we have actually canonised this Richard E. Grant Doctor, which I did really appreciate. It's a fun little nod for the fans, and yeah, great stuff. As to where he fits in the timeline, we're going to have to guess pre-Hartnell, because we've seen all of the regenerations of the modern Doctors, and obviously it was nice to see Joe Martin's fugitive Doctor crop up there as well, so I'm going to guess the Schalke Doctor is a pre-Hartnell Doctor, maybe? Let me know your theories on where he fits in the timeline in the comments down below. I also really enjoyed the music gag where the Kylie Minogue song kept playing and the Doctor was just dancing. It's such a new Doctor, and Nshuti's 15th Doctor feels very current. He's a very modern Doctor. He's a Doctor that I think my generation in particular will really get on with, which is great to see because obviously Doctor Who has to adapt to the time that it's in, and this episode it felt like a weird mix of straight out of 2007, but with a huge chunk of 2024 slammed in there. While we're discussing the episode as a whole, I might as well just point out the writing I thought was fantastic, like really well done throughout. There were a couple of lines, I think the line right before the title sequence where like the villain says something about like, ooh, now I'm the bad one, was a little bit like, maybe that's too on the nose, but overall, the character journeys, the character dynamics, all of that was absolutely fantastic. I loved the Doctor showing Rogue the TARDIS as well. As I keep saying, their chemistry was fantastic, and the little singing, oh, come with me and you'll be in a world of pure imagination, that was really fun. I've also got to say the lighting of the TARDIS in this episode was probably the best it's been so far. I don't know what it was, but there was something about it that was just, yeah, brilliant. Loved the lighting. The alien design as well was really fun, but I can't lie, I thought they were one of the weaker aspects of the episode. A shape-shifting sort of vibe, like I got their vibe, that was cool, and I really liked the idea of them being like cosplayers. I thought that was a really funky thing to do. Like, it wasn't an immediately obvious thing either. The fact that there isn't necessarily an evil plan of world domination, it is kind of just they want to cosplay, and in cosplaying, they're going to ruin the world. I also thought it was quite meta that you had them running around shouting, I want to be the Doctor, when that's kind of what we as fans do, but I don't know, is that close reading? Who knows? As little as a threat that the aliens were, that wasn't really what the story was about. It was far more like a romance story of the Doctor and Rogue and a little action thriller, I'd say. I'd also argue that a weaker point of the plot was Ruby's sort of arc. She didn't really get that much to do, which is a shame, and I think this series is really lacking scenes with just the Doctor and Ruby. There's some great moments with the Doctor and Ruby, which I'll come to in a minute, but seeing as we're now on the finale, and we've had most of the episodes be like Doctor and Ruby separated or Doctor and Ruby light, I do think it's a bit of a shame that we don't have more of their chemistry. We've only really had Space Babies, Boom, and I guess the Devil's Chord. Those are the only three where you get the two on screen constantly. So maybe a little bit more development from the two would help our connections to them. I thought the dance bit with the Doctor and Rogue was both romantic and hilarious. The Doctor shouting, "You cad," Rogue proposing. All of that was such a fun little thing to play out. I also appreciated that they set up Ruby's escape from the Cholder with the earrings, the psychic earring thing, having a fight mode. I thought that was a really fun idea, and I liked that the Doctor and Rogue you have that Doctor Who chase. It's like the pre-titles, as I said, was so Doctor Who-y. That little chase with the Doctor and Rogue, that was so much fun. I think fun is the word to describe this episode. The whole thing was just loads of fun. I also sometimes complain about fake-out deaths with companions, and to be fair, we have already had one with Ruby, but this one, I think, yeah, it was done brilliantly. Sometimes I complain, but here there's not much to complain about. Shooty's reaction to thinking that Ruby had passed away was so much fun. Like, that was a proper serious Doctor moment, and I absolutely love it when the Doctor gets not evil, but a little bit morally grey when he says, like, how long do they live for? 600 years. Good. That's 600 years. I hope they suffer. Like, that line was really well delivered, and I didn't actually see the plot twist of Ruby not being a Cholder, but it being Ruby pretending to be a Cholder coming. I thought that played out really, really nicely and reminded me of Kate in the Zygon inversion when she does her whole 5 rounds rapid thing to escape the Zygons. I suppose it is, like, it's part of the language of shapeshifters in sci-fi. You'll always have one of the main characters oh no, they've been taken over by a shapeshifter. They're not actually a shapeshifter. I thought, yeah, that was a fun reveal. And I loved the dilemma of the Doctor sending these creatures away and Ruby almost having to go with them, and the Doctor and Rogue kissing, Rogue sacrificing himself. I thought that was all brilliantly done and very emotional, and it does just, I really hope Rogue comes back. Jonathan Groff was absolutely fantastic in this role. We also saw the 15th Doctor cry. Again. I mean, here it was perfectly valid. The death of Ruby Sunday, his best mate at that moment, definitely valid. Last week's crying, 100% valid. But some of the other stuff, like the church on Ruby Road, I don't know whether he should have cried there. The Devil's Cord, I don't know whether he should have cried there. Space Babies, did he need to cry there? Boom, I get it, that's valid. But I think if we see the 15th Doctor cry in every episode, obviously he's a more emotional Doctor because of the bi-generation, but even still, I think it undermines moments like this episode where it's so justified for him crying, it would really hit you, but we've seen him cry in every episode, so that's a minor thing. Hopefully he's not going to cry every episode. I was also slightly confused on how Rogue's sacrifice worked. Could he not just push Ruby off the triangle thing? Like, did he just... I don't know, maybe I didn't pay attention enough. Let me know in the comments if I missed something there. It was a nice sacrifice, but the actual logistics of it I don't quite get. The ending scene between the Doctor and Ruby was probably maybe my favourite... No, not my favourite scene because Rogue was great, but one of my favourite scenes of the episode. It was really well written, really well directed, and really well acted. Basically, everyone involved did brilliantly there. It was so emotional, and her hugging the Doctor, him trying to move on, and Ruby saying, no, look, you don't just forget it and move on. You need to process this. All of that was really, really nicely done. So yeah, really, really enjoyed the final scene. Overall, the story, I don't know. I think I'm going to give it an 8, maybe 8.5 out of 10. It's very nearly a 9 out of 10. I'm going to give it 8.5 out of 10. It's one of my favourites of the season so far. Really, really good on all fronts. And it's just what you want from like a Doctor Who episode. Just a self-contained story, really fun guest cast. Not the highest stakes in the universe, but a lot of good fun. Really enjoyed it. 8.5 out of 10. Now, the next time trailer. Oh my goodness me. Susan Triad doesn't know that she's in all these time periods, or is that a lie? Who's coming back? Is there a god? Is it Omega? Is it Sutek? I find out in my next video. Yes, that's right. I'm doing a trailer breakdown video of our Church on Ruby Road, no, Legend of Ruby Sunday trailer, so subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and make sure you're staying tuned for that. I'm also going to be doing a theory video because I have my theories on what the finale is going to be, so stay tuned for that. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy, please do remember to like, comment, subscribe. You know the drill. Goodbye.
Always a twist at the end.